54th annual Passover in North Carolina.
Y'all know what we do. Y'all know what we came to do. Huh?
The ISUPK, under Commander General Yohana, will be hosting the Lord's 54th annual Passover in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Convention Center. This is something that you do not want to miss. Make sure that y'all bring the entire family. The Downtown Raleigh Convention Center. For Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Go to ISUPK.com to purchase your tickets today. $200 per every adult over the age of 17 years old.
We are not the same. No, we not related. I'm not stuck on living. Death is a vacation. My camp undefeated. You cannot debate. You just want the clout.
The Lord's 54th annual Passover, April the 1st, is coming down to Raleigh, North Carolina. That's right. Commander General Yohana has done it again. You don't want to miss this. Pull yourself. Pull yourself.
ISUPK presents the 54th annual Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last year we did it big. This year is going to be way big. More brotherhood, more sisterhood, more UPK. On Sunday, April 2nd, 2023, we're going to be at 421 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Sheraton Raleigh Hotel Ballroom. We calling all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come join us.
Your third eye peephole, line for line, this shit too easy. It's like a free throw. Mastered the game too early. This bitch.
Remember, admission to the Passover is $200 per adult. That's $200 per adult. For more information, call 919-697-8257. Call 919-697-8257.
Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayers. Because we really need you down here. From all the pain that we going through, we know that you're real, so can you fall through? Father, have mercy when we call on you.
That's all he said, you. About 5 minutes.
I raise my children up to say the same shit. Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayers. Because we really, really need you down here. From all the pain that we going through, we know that you're real, so can you fall through? Father, have mercy when we call on you. But I just wanna fall on you. To show the devils you ain't nothing to play with. I raise my children up to say the same shit.
Yeah. Go ahead. Come on, West. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Look, I keep it low to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet. Got soldiers on deck and my youngin' did a sweep.
This a whole nother way. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga.
Come through all black gully jack, man, all them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man, all them niggas gon' retreat.
I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach.
Come through all black gully jack, man, all them niggas gon' retreat.
Man, this shit is too easy. I'm on gold, but they don't believe me. You know I'm winning with the team. Screaming Vinny, 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 Vici. Hear them devils screaming out bloody murder. I'm about to close the curtain. Mama grind, bitch, and work. Sorry, all them lies, it ain't working. Them niggas weak, cause they be churchin'. I'm a West nigga, that's for certain. If he cross the line, I'ma back up and I'ma hit his ass with this virus. And I come through 300 strong, 144 Leonidas. All my niggas we eat. I'm in this bitch with the itis. Say, all y'all do the sweet. Jay Hollis do the sweet. If a nigga made the wrong move, he make his ass obsolete. He ain't one of us, hit the lead. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man, all them niggas go retreat. Look, I keep it low to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet, got soldiers on deck, and my youngest did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach, nigga.
Come through all black gully jack, man, all them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man, all them niggas gon' retreat.
I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach.
Come through all black gully jack, man, all them niggas gon' retreat.
You see this look that's on my face, bitch, I'm for real with it. I hit the streets, put on my cleats, was in the field with it. You soft as cotton, just an actor, Uncle Phil with it. And then my target's on the move, but I can still hit it. Hey, I speak true cause it's necessary. Gullah Jack revolutionary. Cold on them like January. Commander General is a visionary. Soul food, no sweets. Your preacher man, he's sweet. Matter of fact, he weak. It's wartime for peace. Think you hard, nigga, you ain't. Fuck with us, nigga, you can't. You smart cars, we tanks. We form up in ranks. We body bag this rap shit. All black, no bright shit. Real life, no cap, bitch. Fall on them, that's cap shit.
I keep it low to the T. UPK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet, got soldiers on deck, and my youngest did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach.
When Westworld, let's get it. Don't be sure, tell them make sure. If not, we gon' make war. Clips say it hold 20, but I think it could take more. Grab a stick, fire on your camp, we gon' make s'mores. I ain't satisfied with my spot, then I'ma take yours. No matter how many roadblocks in my way, I'ma break forward. This path I'm on is so damn narrow, I just stay forward. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, I just ate more. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, give me 8 more. Nigga, I don't sugarcoat shit, bitch, I'm straightforward. Don't give a fuck if they don't let me in, I just break doors. Ballin' so hard, they asking what team that I play for. Skimmer who? They ain't stopped making guns when they made yours. Sick with it, feeling like I woke up with stage 4. They ain't want the beast loose, what they opened up the cage for. Endure the pain, been through hard times is what I'm made for. Paid my dues, never left a wage, I just rage war. So many chains and gold teeth, this the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Still against all enemies. In high school, you was the man that's lost memory shit. Lost energy, never lost my energy. Never lose control, never losing, dog, I plan to keep. You lose your mind where I'm from, I ain't talking from what you see. I never lost soul, losing times, wasting steady pacing. You off track, I'm on that. You pray to God, hoping he can save you. But there's power about war, and that's a different angle. This another lost cause, and I'm just adding to the list. They not seeing me for that reason, got a flash on the grip. Nigga, big priest, they gon' judge me by my increase. And I'ma keep stepping in these joys to the increase. Just got off the phone with Jacob, and he said it's time to shine. Certified, blue dot, put it on you, now you verified. One West world, bigger than World War III. Do not sleep, it's not cheap, and it's still top 3.
So many chains and gold teeth, this the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Came on boats and then chains, so when I
I get rich, I'ma grab a boat and 10 chains with 12 ribs from each tribe. And each rib gonna have at least 3 kids. Yeah, I'ma have a deep squad. Been rapping since knee high. Now a nigga shack size. Spit that holy fire, when you hear it, you get baptized. One Westworld, yeah, you niggas know the logo. And I'ma bust it down so the haters see the glow glow. Let's have a feast, let's shine on our enemies. Right in they face, let's blind all our enemies. Cause now we half, but we come from half not. Throw that cash on the ground, my nigga, let's cast lots. I started from the bottom, birthed out of mud, raised by gangsters, turned out a thug. I ain't give a fuck, burnt out I was, from hitting licks in and out and selling nicks in the drop.
So many chains and gold teeth, this the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
All right, Shalom Israel. This is the ISUPK, started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And we've been establishing teaching the truth since 1969 under Commander General Yohana. And this is the Monday night history class. And the title of this class is like what can you do to ensure that your marriage survives? We'll be going over the history about like amongst blacks, Hispanics, and Americans. We always had like hardships inside of a marriage. But in today's time, people tend to think that marriage is all about love. But in the Bible, when you hear about the word love, they talk about you got to love in deeds, not just in tongue. So what love really is, according to the Bible for marriage, love is really about work. You got to put in work if you want your marriage to survive. Because people tend to think that, oh, you met someone and they're attractive. They like all the cliche terms. They're loyal. They're respectable. They make you smile. They make you laugh, so forth and so on. But nobody actually talks about what you have to do. All right, so let me know if you got any questions. I'll do my best to break it down for you if you got any questions. So the title of the class is What Must Happen in Order for Your Marriage to Survive? With that, we're gonna talk about like the culture of like about people, just so we get like an understanding about like who we are as a people and like how we always talk and dealt with one another. A lot of times we tend to think that in this society we have to be like what America teaches us to be, but no one wants to pay attention to what God said of the Bible. Like we got to do what God said to do, and once we learn that, then we can also be able to attack and understand like how we operate as a people, what we used to do as a people, like how we interact, the language we use, what we say. All right. All right, so first we're probably gonna go into like Tobit chapter 7, verse 16. That'll probably be the first scripture I grab. But let me just go back. Let me just start off with a little bit about culture. As a matter of fact, hold where you at. We'll probably go to Genesis first. For those who don't know, we hear about Adam and Eve. All right, we'll go to Genesis. And I'm just going to do just a brief breakdown. It ain't going to be too much. I'm just talking about what God did when he created like the earth, the time span, and who had the truth. And I'm going to do really brief and generic breakdown, but I'm just going to show you over time who had the truth, like who the Most High raised up to get this knowledge. Let me see where I want to go. Made a firmament, heavens, 6 day of rest. This is not what I want. All right, let me see. 6 day of rest. still on this day. Give me for 1 second while I pull these scriptures up. So, there's a few scriptures that that you read in the Old Testament. The Genesis. Let's go to. Let's see. There unto the Lord like 1,000 years. This is what I'm looking for. There unto the Lord like 1,000 years. Let me see. Genesis chapter 1. I can't find my own scriptures. I have it written down in here. Let me get my sword. It's going to be Genesis, first chapter. Stop. Grab my sword. All right, so we're going to Genesis, the 7th chapter. Go to verse.
Says 7, sir.
Yeah. Go to the first chapter. I'm trying to start around verse 7. So, represent wood on 7. Like go to heaven and firmament. So when you read inside the book of Genesis, this is talking about when the Most High created like the earth, when He created like the planet, the dew, the light, the beast, the fowl of the air. What I'm going to go into is when He actually raised Adam up, and why we rest on certain days. The point of me bringing this out is because, according to marriage, Adam and Eve was not the first to be married because it was not the first on the planet. But the point is that the Most High raised up Adam and Eve. Adam had the truth, what we call the truth today, which is like the Most High's knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And then that trickled down of the people that He chose to raise up, when it goes to Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob, the 12 sons of Israel, who makes up, the 12 tribes of Israel, who are the Israelites. The point is that the Most High taught us of everything that we need. How can we make a marriage thrive? Because when it comes to problems, we always have problems. You're not going to ever escape problems with them from another person, because different people, different demons, different viewpoints of life, different things like to do, spending habits, eating habits, saying yes, saying no. So the point is that over time, we always had a history of problems with our marriages. But in the Bible, it teaches us how to make your marriage thrive. And also, I got a couple articles out that I'm going to bring up to talk about these statistics of when marriages fail. You'll be surprised that a lot of marriages fail in America. I'll bring up those statistics later on in the class. All right, so we'll go to Genesis. Let's see. Down to 1,000 years. All right, so we can start at Genesis 2 and we can start at 2 and 20. About 2 and 20. We started here with Adam. All right, Genesis 2 and 20. So Genesis 2 and 20 says, "And Adam gave the names to all the cattle, to all the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him." So meaning, like he's saying, Adam is this man that he put in the work of the Lord by naming things, but he didn't have himself a helpmeet. So it says, "The Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. He slept and took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof." Verse 22, "And the rib which the Lord God had taken from the man, made a woman and brought her unto man." And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man." Verse 24 says, "Therefore shall man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." So what we hear about marriage today, I was talking about becoming one, joining together. Do you understand those scriptures that I read?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Because if you didn't, I can break it down for you. Because a lot of times people tend to think about that scripture being literal. I mean, like he put Adam in sleep and took out his actual literal rib and formed a woman. You clearly see that. I can bring up some more scriptures when it's really talking about bone your bone, flesh your flesh, meaning like your own kinsman. You know, that's what I mean by that. And just in case y'all was wondering if Adam was the first on the planet, he talked about he had a father and a mother. So we're gonna kill all that nonsense right now. Adam had a father and a mother, such he just said in his scripture. But right there that you see that Adam had the truth, and he says, when you get a woman, y'all become one flesh. Meaning like y'all two individuals come together, y'all be on one accord. Y'all make up one family, the house of this individual, whatever your name may be. So right here showing you that, okay, he has a helpmeet, he has a woman. He's the leader, and she's his helpmeet. All right. So that right there just shows just a little bit about how we all started together. So now we'll go to Tobit, chapter 7 and 16. Tobit may be in the what we call the Apocrypha. It'll be in the what we call the Apocrypha. Have you read the Apocrypha?
No, sir.
You know what it is?
Yes, sir.
All right. So for listening audience, the Apocrypha is what we would call like that bridge between Old Testament and New Testament. If you read if you read just the Bible, the standard Bible today, and we got old and new, it seems like there's like a drop off, or there's something mixing in between. The Apocrypha was taken up by the Nicene Council because they could not in the Roman Catholic Church. Because with the Apocrypha still being inside the Bible, they cannot push certain agendas. So like if they had a message that they wanted to portray or they wanted to exhibit by keeping the Apocrypha in, they couldn't do it because it has scripture in there and shows that like they did not just take lightly to someone ruling over them. They actually fought and rebelled. They rather died than to eat pork. So in the Apocrypha shows how rebellious to our oppressors that we were. Like some of us actually had like a moral stand, a moral compass. We had some integrity. Now, even though we were still sinning, some of us were, some of us wasn't. But the point was, we chose to serve the Most High unto literal death. Being like, some people were like, well, if you hungry, you ain't got nothing to eat, would you eat a pork sandwich? The story in the Apocrypha where it says, the men chose to die versus to eat pork, which I might just bring that out later on. But the point is about the topic today is about the marriages. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think some people divorce today?
They got married under false pretense.
Oh, that's a good one. That's an excellent answer. That is an excellent answer. False pretense. I didn't think of that myself. I know for some men, I'm just gonna go over just a few down a timeline. Some men fall weak to their women because the women gave them an ultimatum. If you don't marry me, I'm going to leave you. So in order for him to feel like he should keep his woman, he's going to go and get a marriage contract. But that's just that right there. It's just a marriage contract. He never did it because he truly loved her. He never did it because he knew what he had to do to make that marriage thrive. But that's an excellent answer on the false pretense. Let me ask you one more question. What do you think? What do you need to do to make a marriage survive?
You gotta be in the truth.
Well,
You gotta be in the truth in order for a marriage to survive. That's the only way.
That's a okay.
You gotta actually, people say put God and the Most High first and stuff, but if you're not in here, then still under false pretense of what the God and the Most High is.
I like that answer, but you know that there has been people been married for 80 years, but they wasn't in the truth, and they thrive. But I do like the answer that being in the truth, you will be trained and taught what you have to do in order for your marriage to survive. So I'll most definitely take that. But one of the main things is that we try to teach people is that look at yourself. You gotta look at yourself and analyze yourself. Now that sounds very vague, right? You hear it all the time. Look at yourself, analyze yourself, and figure out who you are. I'm going to break all that down because I'm over the history, so I know how to break things down. That way, like small children can understand. When they say look at yourself, meaning like, do you know that you yourself, you're not pleasant to be around 24/7? Meaning like, you do things that's going to anger people. Here, you do things that anger yourself. So if you do something that makes yourself mad, could you imagine how someone else may feel? And they might not have the certain amount of tolerance to put up with you. The point is that you hope through all your bull jive that your good outweighs the bad, meaning that they'll be willing to put up with you. Now, there are some things that you do that can be a pet peeve or a line that some people are not willing to cross. Now, some things you can work on to modify, if it's something bad. Let's say, for example, some women with money management, they spend just entirely too much. Now, they could take some money management classes. They can be a little more disciplined, so forth and so on, or like addictions and things of that nature. But in order to make a marriage thrive is, well, you got to understand like the culture of our people, how we talk, how we deal with one another. We said false pretenses. When you said that was an excellent answer because people lack the communication. They don't give out good communication. So that's one of the main things. We don't give out good communication, and people don't tend to understand. Okay, I said I'm going to do this, but I did not do it, or I felt like this, but I did not voice my opinion. I did not give my perspective on the matter. Certain seeds of like distrust and anger just sit there and they grow and they grow, and then you become like a boiling pot, and then sometimes you just explode and everything seep over the top. Some stuff is about one of the main reasons why marriages don't work today. One is work. People don't put in the work. When you get yourself a helpmeet, when a woman finds herself a husband, a man finds himself a wife, one, it's work. Meaning that you got to, let me speak from the man's perspective, then I'll speak briefly on the woman's perspective. Some men will see a girl here, they're like, oh man, she's good looking. He's gonna go ahead and entice, talk to her, gang up, like, hey, Charlotte, how you doing? And get a number, and she's smiling. They exchange numbers. They text and talk, then they go out, and at some point, he lies with her, and like, yeah, I finally got her. Now, he got her. Then what he do once he get her? He just coast, right? He just coast. What did he stop doing? He stopped putting in work. So what you did was to get her what you put in the work. If you want to maintain that marriage, what you got to have to continue to do, keep putting in work. And that's where a lot of marriages fail today, outside of like what we call infidelity or cheating. Making another woman, that's not cheating, it's just making another woman. But if a woman gets another husband, that's adultery. So those are two different things. I'll talk about that later on. But people stop putting in that work, and we fail to understand that if you don't continue to put in work, you're gonna lose everything. Like you putting in work is like you got her. If you want to keep her, you might have to put in double amount that work because you chose her. Now she might have said yes, but you put in the work to get her. Now from the sister's perspective is they get a lot of attention. She got attention from this guy, she got attention from that guy, attention from that guy, the next guy at the store, the co-worker at the job, somebody's offering to pay for her gas and pump it. People's offering to get her the door. She go out to the club. Every guy's like touching her arm, grabbing her hand. She's getting all these different hey, Charlotte, hey, little mama, excuse me, beautiful, beautiful, hey, love. She's getting all these words of affirmation. All these words that boosts her up. You know, like she getting hit on by everybody every time she turned around the corner. But out of everybody, she chose you. But she did not forget what? All the attention that she used to get. So some women still thrive for that attention or that validation. So that's why we'll see like a lot of our sisters, they go like to social media. They start posting pictures for likes. They'll start to start wearing clothes that's revealing to get more attention, even though they have a man. So a lot of our sisters thrive for their attention, and sometimes that's the attention would be to the destruction of a healthy marriage. But in these scriptures, we're gonna go over how you deal with an unhealthy marriage. Sometimes how can you choose right? When it comes to men, women are terrible at choosing a man. They're just terrible. I mean, they're just awful. When it comes to women, men, we tend to love whores. Whoever's showing it and whoever's gonna give it up the easy, that's what we want. So we could change that overnight if we was to be taught how to make a marriage work and how to choose the right woman. If we decided to say, you know what, if a sister walking down the street and she got on and she's showing like her cleavage and you know she got on see-through pants, we ain't gonna talk to her. She gonna walk right by. We're not gonna look back at her or nothing. We're just gonna let her walk by. And we're gonna make an announcement. So you know what? Any woman that's dressed like a harlot, you know what I'm saying, we ain't talking to her. So if you better put some clothes on if you want the attention from a man. Everybody should like unfriend her, all that stuff. Overnight, our sister would change the way they dress. Because they dress the way they dress today is for two reasons. One, there's no father in the house. Two, they think this is what men like. In actuality, we do because we still talk to them. But if we change up our perspective and go back to like our culture is like our women cover their bodies up. They even had their head wrapped. Like they didn't show themselves to nobody. Like it was very sacred. Like she was very in touch and tune with her husband. And also you're reading in scripture, like sometimes women will find their husband another wife because she know that she might not be enough. Meaning this. Let's say with some women, right? Some women want a lot of sex. Some women want a minimum amount of sex. Some women only want one child. Some want 10. Some want none. And she knows that if he wants children, and she might be past the age to bear children, she gonna need some help if she want her husband to have children. So she might try to help him find a wife. Okay, this might be a good sister. She can help you. She might be able to assist you to get you some kids, or you know what I'm saying, I'm struggling right here and I might need help with this. So it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that in the Bible, women has found their husband wives. You read about it with Jacob. That has happened a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go to this book in the Bible, Tobit chapter 7, verse 16, and it's in the Apocrypha, and it says, after Rachel called his wife Edna and said unto her, sister, prepare another chamber and bring her in hither. So this is talking about Rachel and his wife, and he called another woman Edna, and she's telling this a sister wife. That's not biblical. We just said it in terms today. That's how people tend to call women when they share the same husband or sister wife. It's not biblical. We just said it because it's what people are familiar with. She says, prepare another chamber. And that's what she did until I bring her here. Like this is a sister preparing a chamber for another sister, for their husband. I just brought this out just to show that women in the Bible, some dislike it, but it was understood that this was like our culture. Polygamy is not something that's foreign to Israelite culture or to mankind culture itself. I might teach another class about the history of monogamy, kind of start with the Romans. I might bring out some articles about that. I might teach at the next class. Today I want to focus on like how to make a marriage thrive. Women has always been selfish when it comes to like their husbands. It's just that Some don't mind. You always get like a few that don't mind, but the majority of our women, they always want to be selfish when it comes to how they get a man, how they treat their man, and it should be all about them. Why? Because of the attention that I brought up earlier. They want all that attention for themselves, and they just don't want to share. Have you ever noticed, like today, like some women, if she have on a nice dress, she won't even tell you where she got it from, because she's so afraid that somebody else might go buy that same dress. When it comes to the plus, we be like, hey man, I got this at the little Tiger Mart down the street. I got this hat right there. Go get you one. Like when it comes to, we don't mind. Hey, yeah, go get you that. We don't mind promoting businesses and telling people where we found like our fly gear from. Sisters, I don't know. It's a wrap. Don't want nobody have nothing. It's all about themselves. So the point is that sometimes our sisters can be selfish and they crave the attention. But even in history, it's always shown us that some women will still share their husbands. Some women don't mind, and even though they crave the attention, there's ways to how you can deal with your woman if you felt like she was getting out of hand or out of order. As a matter of fact, we can go to Matthew's 18th chapter, verse 15. So this right here, this is Christ going to be speaking. There's a way in how you treat a brother and how you treat a sister. And we have not been taught this ever. You have not been taught this in the Christian church. You have not been taught this in life. Sometimes you might hear some brief about it, like, okay, yeah, you talk to this person and you can see if you can make it work that way. But we have not been taught this in detail, how we're supposed to treat one another. All right, and this right here, this is like something that's universal. Like this applies to not just a husband and wife. This applies to a co-worker. It applies to kids of a certain age, family member. This applies to anybody, no matter who they are to you. But for the sake of, to stay on the topic of the class, we're going to talk about for husband and for wife. All right, so we got this is the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. It says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee. So we all know what trespass is, right? Just to be accurate, we're gonna get the actual definition. There's a trespass. The actual definition is to commit an offense against a person or a set of rules. So Christ right here is saying, if a brother shall it says, more if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go in and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. I know it said brother, but this is something that can apply to a sister, because if you felt like your woman has did an offense, tell your woman, like, sit her down, like, go to them and them alone. Meaning, like, don't go confront your woman in public. Like, your woman did something, and you like, oh, I'm about to go check this woman, and you like blazing on her in front of the mall, in front of everybody can hear y'all yelling, or you're at a restaurant, you get the family reunion. You don't want to blaze on a person if you feel like they trespass against you in front of everybody else. You know why? You know why you shouldn't do that like that?
To not blaze on them in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's your brother. You just want to keep it between y'all, not to embarrass them or, like, it's your brother. You don't want to.
Well, what if it's your woman? What if
your woman? You don't want to. You don't want to embarrass her neither. You want to keep it between y'all.
Right. One of the main reasons, it's true, you want to keep y'all problems in the house. Another reason is that if you, I'm going to say it's between you and I. If, let's say I'm your brother, right? And let's say, oh, man, we in the club, like, I bumped you really hard, and you know what I'm saying, you knocked your drink down. You would say you had, I don't know, one of them blue drinks. and you spilled your blue drink on your white forces. So now your force is white and blue now. And I kept walking by. You're mad. You be like, hey, homie, like you just, excuse me, man, but you know, you kind of bumped me kind of hard. You made me knock my drink down. Right? That's what happened. But if you come to me and be like, hey, nigga, you knocked my stuff or go buy me another drink. If you said to me in front of everybody else, what you think I'm going to say?
It's offensive now. Nigga,
right, yeah, your drink. No, because you're embarrassing me. You're trying to confront me, be confrontational. That's why the scripture says, go to him and him alone. Like, hey, put him to the side. Like, hey, excuse me, bro. Like, you know, so when you walk by, you might have noticed, but like, you bumped me kind of hard, and you made me spill my drink. Now, if I'm a brother, I'm not like, oh, man, Salaki, that's my fault, homie. Let me go buy you another. What was you drinking on? Matter of fact, let me buy you 2 of them. Apologize for the shoe, bro. You know what I'm saying? And they can just end it like that. Same thing with your woman. Sometimes I be seeing couples in public like it be the guy here yanking by the arm, yell at the top of his lungs in front of everybody, and she going back and forth. Those temper tantrums is very emotional. That's what women would do. They'll throw fits like a child. They'll like fuss and throw their arms and pout and yell. And that's something what women do. They tend to act like children when they're upset in public. You got a sister that's doing something, you pull this out, hey, right now, get your stuff together, but we're going to talk and get to this house. As a matter of fact, you offended me, don't say nothing else. And you leave it at that. But now someone wants to go back and forth, but it's okay. You keep your composure. Just wait till you get to that time and you talk to her alone. So if they keep reading on the scripture, it says, more if your brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, then thou hast gained a brother. So, you know what I'm saying? If they hear you, like if they say they understand, then you know, okay, well, I gained this brother. He apologized. Everything good now. But if you don't, we have what we call like a counsel. And that's what we end up. That's what we have, a counsel. So, telling people like their faults is all still about communication. You gotta talk to a person, you know. So you gotta tell them like, okay, this is what you did. It made me upset. I didn't like it. I felt this type of way. I felt disrespected, and it put me inside of a space that I'm not willing to deal with. And then she might explain her perspective and why she did such and said X, Y, Z. Then y'all talk about it. Then you ultimately the man will make the decision. If he's a good husband, he'll make a decision. Depending on what the issue is, he may or may not compromise. But every healthy marriage has a compromise in it. You know what I'm saying? So even when it comes down to like the sex, to the money, to the children, every marriage has a compromise in it. All marriages have to have nothing but work. You have to put in that work if you want your marriage to survive, if you want your marriage to thrive. No work, that is nothing. That is nothing. So we're gonna talk about what love is in the Bible. And we're gonna talk about what love is to the Most High, but we're gonna talk about like the actions of it. Man, it's a lot here. Yeah. We're gonna go to 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. So this should be in the New Testament. 1 John 3 and 18. So, First John, I say 3 and 18. Have you read this scripture before in the church?
Yes.
Oh, you have. I wanted to explain it right.
No, I don't know if I actually read in church. I'm pretty sure I have in church, but of course they didn't explain it right.
Right. Okay, gotcha. So this is the book of 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. My little children, let us not love in word. So when you hear marriages today and people get together today, what's one of the first things that come out their mouth? I love you, girl. I love you too. And everybody thought the word love so easily. Like, they don't even say they like you first. It's like, I love you, and I want to be with you. I love you forever. I love you for the rest of my life. So forth and so on. Like, all this love, right? But it says in First John, it says, my little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue. Like, don't say the words, don't even talk about it. Like, don't talk about what you're going to do. It says, but in deed and in truth. Meaning, like, if you say you love somebody, you have to put in that work to show them. And love is an action. Love is what you do. Love is like, sometimes our children, especially our small children, they'll tend to think that you say you love somebody and that's it, and all of a sudden, that is it. So, like, a children just use that word love, and that's all they know. Like, I love you, daddy. I love you, mama, and that be it. But to adults, you can say you love me, but if you say you love me, but every time I come to the house, you try to lock me out, or you throw my clothes out on the streets, or, you know what I'm saying, you cussing me out and saying I ain't nothing, and you say you wish you would have stayed with another man. Is that you really loving me? No, like, you saying you love me, but your deeds don't reflect that. How you love somebody, you got to show them in what you do, like your doings, the deeds. You got to love in what you do. And in marriages today, people say it so loosely, but they don't actually put in that work. So therefore, we get people saying they love somebody. What work have they actually done? No, back in would be like our parents, most like our grandparents' day. It's never nothing. You hear about a marriage couple, they've been married for like 40, 50 years. And they'll tell you, like, yeah, I did this and she did that and made me mad, but I pushed through it and I made it work. Like, all times you hear, like, of old couples who've been married for like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, all of them talk about, like, the work they put in and what they had to do. Today, it's all about fast action. What can you get? Can you get it quick? If you get it quick, you leave quick. And no one today has actually taught our children what love is. Love is something that you have to put in the work to do. Like, you can say you love somebody, but if you cussing them out every day, you don't really love them. If you love them, you respect them. You would give them good honor, and you will show them, like, how they should live. Show them how, like, they should conduct themselves. You would show them what they must do in order to make this marriage thrive. Because like I said earlier, dealing with yourself, you're not a pleasant person to deal with. It don't matter, like, how cool and how loving you think you are and how understanding you think you are. You yourself is not pleasant to be around. Nobody is. You just got to hope and put in work to say that my good outweighs my bullshit. My good outweighs all the negatives that I got. Yeah, I got about 15 negatives, but on my good side, I got about 46 things. So, you know what I'm saying? Which one you want? You got to take all of it. All of it comes with me. So, when you're dealing with a woman, whatever baggage and luggage she got, that's yours. You're going to have to deal with it. Now, you can work on some of those things and you can earn some things out, but dealing with people, we got to understand, like, are you willing to put up? Because, let's do like a time frame. Like, the first 5 years, y'all might survive, let's say, in a marriage, you might survive a little yelling, a little door slamming, maybe some mild cussing out. That ain't nothing. First 10 years, you done survived, or you're going through, like, her parents might be going through, like, menopause, or she might have lost a loved one, the children getting of age. First 20 years, you probably done survive now, like a little snowstorm, a little hail. 40 years, you done survive hurricanes, you done survive earthquakes, you done survive a couple wars, like, you done survive everything imaginable. But you got to put in that work. And then our people today, we're afraid of that work. Like, no one wants to work hard. And everything has to be, like, convenient and ready, like technology. But it has done our people a disservice because no one knows how to put in work. So therefore, that's why the topic of this class, I'm going to break down some scriptures to show what you got to do. And this right here is the beginning of it. One is like, you got speak to that person, to them and them alone. Show them like, hey, look, you offended me. This is what you got to do. Then I showed, okay, love is not something that you just say, but love is what you actually do. So you got love in deeds and in truth. So we're gonna go to now 1 Peter chapter 3. We'll start at verse 1. 1 Peter 3 and 1. So I don't think I need to bring out that you can have more than one wife. You think you know you can have about having more than one wife, but when it comes down to marriages, our women and men. Well, I'm gonna start with women first. Our women have not been taught their role to their husband, like their duty of marriage, like what they have to do. A lot of times women say like they will want a husband, but don't even know that the word husband actually have a meaning. Like a lot of times we just hear these words, but don't even look them up to know what they actually mean. Because there's a few scriptures where it says that the Most High is Israel's husband. We're his wife. The word husband actually has a meaning, so I might as well just go ahead and pull that on now. So that way we can have an understanding about what husband means, what's his actual definition. So the word husband is an abbreviated word from the word husbandry. And the definition is the care, cultivation, and breeding of crops and animals, management and conservation of resources. So those are just a couple of the definitions. But it's the care and cultivating. Like if a woman says she wants a husband, she says she wants that man to cultivate, she wants him to care, and she wants him to manage of what she got going on. A lot of times women say they want a husband, then they're gonna get married, and that's it. But not even knowing what the word husband means. If you look at the definition about the word husband, it mentions nothing about love, him having his wife. None of that. It's about management. I'm going to be over this woman. She's going to be my helpmeet. That's why I brought in Genesis that the Most High gave Adam a wife to mean like, hey, this is going to be your helpmeet. She's going to help you. You're going to be the leader of this household. So women today don't want to be ruled over. They don't want to submit. They don't want the man to be above them. What do they want? They want to be what? Independent. They don't need a man. They can do everything on their own. Well, let's look at society today, right? Since the 70s, really, or 60s, they started kicking out with the black man out the house, right? It's just like the 60s and 70s, mostly in the 70s. Since then, what has been on the rise? Since the black man has been taken out the house, we went through what? A coke epidemic. We went through the crack epidemic. We went through I'm trying to think of things that was detrimental. The gang crisis. We went through, now they want to call it like opioid. And we got homosexuality on a wild, rampant chase. So we got all these things that's the epidemics that put our people through, right? And this is coming from the single household. So when women say they don't need a man to manage these problems, this is what we get. Now you got strung out on dope. Our father's not around. When we strung on dope, man, we went from like one drug to another. We went from coke to crack to heroin to now to these pills. Now we look outside. Our women are half dressed. Our men looking like women. All because of what? A woman said she did not need a man. A woman said she don't need a husband. She don't need a man for nothing. Well, if you got like, yes, don't worry. So now you got a woman who said they don't need a man for nothing. Well, this is what you get. Today you see the product. Like what you see today is the product of when you remove a man from the household. We're in the book of 1 Peter, chapter 3. We'll be at verse 1. The topic of the class is what must happen in order for a marriage to to survive. Just give you a little brief update. We went over a couple of scriptures to show that a woman was made to be a helpmate for a man. We were talking about the culture. We went inside of Tobit to show that, okay, like women actually did not have a problem with men having more than one wife. They actually they used to help out other wives. We went to Matthew to show like how you treat a brother and sister. And then now we're in 1 Peter. And we'll be from 1 Peter chapter 3, we're about to go all the way up to 8. But we'll break down each verse. Let me read it. Give me 1 second. So we've been taught that, or our sisters has been taught that men are useless. But when they got them 8 kids, they want some child support from that man. They want some money from them. When they want to feel good sexually, now they might go to a woman, but that woman that she's going to is emulating the man with the fake rod. So like they've been taught and brainwashed that they don't need a man, but everything that they need comes from a man. Everything. The kids come from a man. The house that she lives in comes from a man. The job she more likely have, more likely comes from a man. Even if it's like a hair store business. Well, the ship that it came in on came from a man, or the plane you flew it on came from a man. All right, so who delivered it to your store, it came from a man. The way you talk, the social media outlets that you have, everything that women use today, it comes from a man. But they've been taught a disservice to say that they don't need a man. And this is one of the main reasons why marriages do not thrive today, is because they are afraid, and we'll get to the scriptures. All right, you go ahead.
Verse 1.
Con.
Now, this book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
Okay, so ye wives, that is plural. He's talking about more than one, but it can count for just one. Like you got to be in subjection. Do everybody know what subjection means? All right, so cool. So I need to bring out a definition. It means you guys to be in understanding. Okay, this man is going to be ruling over you. You're gonna have to submit. But today, in today's society or today's time, that our sisters don't want to subject themselves to listen to a man. It is not by accident. That's why a lot of marriages fail today. I have a couple articles that shows the statistics of marriages failing today. I'm going to tell y'all a brief part about it. 40 to 50% of marriages fail within the first 7 years. Almost 50% that they're going to more than likely get a divorce. That's half in America. It's number 1 on the earth. Why? Because our women are taught not to be submissive to their husband. They're taught they don't need a man. And later on, we're going to get into the reason why men need divorcing their wives too. But majority of times, I think another article I have, I think they said almost 90% of women file for divorces. So they're the ones who tend to leave their husbands. Earlier you brought out like false pretenses. That's why they divorce. Some of it, about one of the articles, about 20% is of infidelity. But the majority of it is lack of communication, lack of work. I gave a brother an analogy that when a brother sees a woman, right? So he see her, she looking good. He go talk to her, give her all kind of nice compliments, and then he get the number. He texting her, he calling her, they go out some dates. Then at some point, whenever it happens, then it happened in a couple days or a couple months or a couple weeks, whatever. He lies with her, right? And then he got her. What do some brothers know to start doing after they get with the girl?
Leave.
Well, some don't leave. Some do. We're talking about the ones who might stay. And once they get it, what they tend to do.
Outside of leaving, if they stand, they moving in, they taking care of.
They take care of her. But one of the words is I said to them that they stop putting in their work. Like you stop trying to take her out. You stop telling her how good she might look and how appreciative you might be of her. Like you put in that work to get her. Once you got her, you stop putting in that work. Okay. So now you done shown her something that you're willing to do, but once you got her, you stop doing it. So therefore, she's gonna act different and change the way she's gonna be because you shown her a different side that you could not keep up with, that you could not give her. So that's what we say, like false pretenses mean like I done showed this woman that I can be caring and considerate. I'm gonna take care of her. I'm gonna take her out. Once I get the cookie, I'm a ghoster. But now she feel like, well, hold up, this ain't what you showed me. Like, this is what you showed me in the beginning. In the beginning, I used to get like texts from you. We go out on dates, but now I can barely get you to come out the house. So the brother had brought out false pretenses, but those are one of the things that men tend to do, or couples tend to stop doing when they're in a marriage. They stop putting in work. That's why I brought out in 1 John that when you love somebody, it's not a word thing. It's about the deeds, the actions that you do. You gotta love it in deeds and in truth. You can't just say, yeah, I love you, without putting in no work. If you ask any old couple that's been married for 20, 30, 40 plus years, they're gonna talk about like the work and the storms they have survived. Like, you got to put in work. If you're not willing to put in the work, your marriage is not going to thrive, because you yourself as an individual, you're not a nice person to be with. Like, you yourself, you're not pleasant to be around 24/7. Like, you yourself, you will make your own self mad because you do things that are just bullshit. Like, you're not pleasant. You just got to hope that your good outweighs all of the bullshit that you got. Meaning they're like, okay, yeah, I got this going on, but all this good stuff that I got, she's willing to put up with all my bull job. So you got to put in that work to make things thrive. But now people have not been taught how to make things thrive. So in these scriptures that I'm about to read, we're going to be showing our wives, okay, and to the husbands as well, this is what you have to do. Earlier, I brought out the definition for husband. Some women think that they want a husband, and they think that, okay, because they're married, they want a husband, but don't even know what the word means or where it comes from. The word husband is a root word for the word husbandry. And it means to take care, it means to like to cultivate, it means to like manage. It's also about like gardening. Like Jake, his name's a gardener. He's a sower, a planter. You got to take care of things. You got to water it, the seeds. You got to cultivate it. You got to make sure don't add too much water. You got to make sure the weather's not too hot, too cold. You got to take care of things and watch over it. That's what a husband is supposed to do to his wife, to take care, to watch over. If you're watching over something, that means you're in charge of something. That means you're going to implement the do's and the don'ts. Women say they want a husband, but they don't want a man to reign over them. They don't want him to rule over them. They don't want to read what in this Bible? It says, wives what?
Wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
Keep going.
That if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
It says you got to be in one, meaning like you're going to have to listen. Wives do not want to listen these days. It is so hard to get a sister to, like, how can I say this? It's so hard to get a sister just to shut up. It's so hard to get her to be quiet. It's so hard to get her to listen. You know, they got to go off and they got to get like the last word and the first word and every word in between. Like, women do not want to submit these days. Now, there has been a shortage of how men are groomed and created these days. So that can be one of the factors of why women don't want to submit. But in that, you still got to charge women, because women have kicked the man out the house and they're raising the sons themselves. If you raise up a man that's too emotional, you gotta take charge for that. You raise an emotional man, so therefore he's going to act emotional towards his woman. So therefore, you raising two broken households. One side for the son, one side for the daughter. You're raising two people to say, don't submit and don't respect somebody else. But once you put fathers back into the household, we were thriving before civil rights. We had black businesses, we had black colleges. Well, I don't know if you know, but prior to civil rights, we had 127 HBCUs that was founded before civil rights. After the Civil Rights Bill in 1964 was established and signed into law, there has been 0 HBCUs founded. HBCU stands for Historically Black College University. It's an institution. Basically black colleges. Black colleges. So since then, we have shown, the point of me bringing this out was to show that we were together when we had men inside the households. up into the 70s when they started to implement like WIC and like child care. They told women that you cannot have a man inside the house. That's why, truth, you know what I'm talking about. You know, to bind man up.
To bind up a strong man, it's a lot.
Oh, you just want to pull up real quick.
Leave us in Matthew.
This, let me pull up real quick and bind up a strong man. New Testament. Matthew 12 and 29.
Book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 29. Or else how can one enter into a strong man's house?
Meaning, like, you know, you got a strong man. You got like a husband that's there, like he's there, like look at it like a lion, right? A big lion. He got like his lioness and he got his little baby. What's the baby lion's called? What, cubs? You got all the cubs there. You see that lion there, you can be like, no, I can't go over there and mess with this family. You know, he run up perimeter, you know, patrolling. He makes sure everybody's protected, and any threat comes over there, they getting their face bit off. They getting their limbs tore apart. They'll get digested. Meaning, like, you know, you can't enter into a strong man's house. Keep going.
And spoil his goods.
His goods meaning like his family. Like, you're gonna spoil his wife, you're gonna spoil his children, like make them snobbish, make them weak, make them disobedient. All right, keep going.
Except he first bind the strong man.
I mean, like, if you want to go inside this man's house and destroy his family, you're gonna have to destroy that strong man first. You're gonna have to bind them up. You're gonna have to put in crafty counsels. You're gonna have to put in provisions, make up laws to get rid of that strong man if you want to spoil his goods. Keep going.
And then he will spoil his house.
So once you bind up that strong man, you take care of that father outside the house, then you can take care of his whole entire family. You can take over his children. You can take over his wife or wives, all right? So the point is, American government, they knew exactly what they was doing. That's why you got so many government assistance programs to say that if a husband inside that house, you cannot receive these type of assistance. It's not by accident that Christ has said this thousands of years ago. If you want to bind, you can't bind up a strong man's house with him still being in there. You have to get rid of that father, then implement something to spoil his goods. So therefore, our women are spoiled today. Our children are spoiled today because there is no father. There is no father to show his daughter like you got to be submissive to your husband. You got to obey your husband. You have to listen to your husband. There is no father today to show, okay, hey wife, this is how we're going to raise our children. This is how we're going to show them the do's and don'ts. This is how they're going to conduct themselves in public. There is no father, so therefore, no fathers means like you're not going to see, except for the UPK, you're not going to really see too many marriages that thrive anymore. Like the generation of them being married for 30 plus years, they're dying off. Now they get married, it might last 5-6 years, and then they divorce it. Almost 50% of marriages divorce early. So we don't get married and stay married too often. All right, so we'll go back. You can drop that. We'll go back to 1 Peter.
Start back top of verse 1.
No, let's go. You got to. Go ahead. Start at 1.
That's 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in submission to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. Verse 2. While they behold your chaste conversation.
All right, it's cool. Your chaste conversation, like, that is also about, like, with chastising. Everybody know what chastising is, right?
Yeah.
So people tend to think that chastising is something that's bad. So people tend to think like chastising is something bad to me. Like, okay, you said this to me and my feelings are hurt. Why'd you say this to me? If you pull them to the side, and you became call it checking. You do a little chastising. You check that brother, you check that sister. And some checkings can hurt really bad. Some, and I'm talking about some is fine. You might be like, okay, take it on the chest and knock it on off and you make that correction. Some is like, it might tear you down for a little like, damn, and I really, really messed up really bad. But chastising is good because you're going to pull that person to the side, okay, like you're going to show them like the error of their ways. Like people today, we don't offer any correction. Our sisters today, no one tells them like to cover up themselves. No one tells them like you should really watch how you talk to somebody in public. Nobody pulls the men to the side like, hey, brother, first of all, homie, if I could you pull up your pants? I mean, are you LGBT? Are you being with them, right? You're like, no, I ain't nothing like that. But you show me your drawers. I know you got on Burberry. Like, why should, if you're not LGBT, I'm not LGBT, why do I know that you got on Burberry underwear?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why is you showing me the shape of your buttocks? Like, hey, could you pull up your pants? Could you pull up your pants? As a matter of fact, brother, them might be too small for you. Could you get like 2 sizes bigger? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see your calf muscle. Like, bro, like nobody offers correction anymore. Nobody chastises anymore because we are too afraid to offer discipline. We're too afraid to love one another. Be like, hey, look, what you're doing is wrong, brother. Here's a better way. Nobody has taught our people to live life accordingly because of why? You took out the strong man. So now you leave with spoiled goods. If you got a basket full of fruit and one of them is rotten, it's gonna make the whole basket rotten, right? It's gonna spoil the whole basket. So now we got basket out the spoiled basket, out the spoiled basket, out the spoiled basket. And then now we look at it, people today, and we wonder why do marriages, almost 50% of them divorce, almost 50% divorce within like the first 7 years. Nobody was taught how to be a wife or how to be a husband. Women damn sure don't know how to be quiet. I think once you even train a woman to be quiet, she might not still even be quiet, but it'll be a little more bearable. You know, I mean, that's a big stretch to tell them, hey, shut your mouth for a second. But the point is that like chastising is good when you need to offer correction. Like we got to get outside of our feelings, stuff like that. Like you cannot be afraid to pull that person to the side. Like, hey, look, this right here is a do not do under the house of a Karyala. What's your name, Warrior?
Bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
This is a no under the house of Bill. Like, hey, you cannot wear this. This is inappropriate for being in the house of the Rocket. Like, this is a no. Period. As a matter of fact, go put some clothes on now, or be quiet now, or get in here now. Like, you're gonna have to always offer that correction. If you do not correct people, they're gonna continue to be like a bent shape, a bent pipe. You know what I'm saying? If you got like an L pipe and it turns into a Z, you know what I'm saying? It's no longer to serve your purpose. You know, so you're gonna have to keep things straight. If you got an L pipe, or if it's whatever kind of pipe you got, you're gonna have to keep it at its natural shape because that's it. It's made for the cause. Like if you got something that's out of whack, put it back in whack. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people got like smartphones, and if it get too cloudy, you're gonna have to clear some memory. You gotta do a little wipe and clean, get rid of some things. Like sometimes addition can be, you can't add by subtracting. You know what I'm saying? I know people like the math ain't mathing, but you can add by subtracting. You just gotta know what you're adding or know what you're subtracting in order to add space. So you gotta understand that if you really want something to thrive, one, the wives gotta submit. Two, you cannot be afraid to chastise. Like you're gonna have to offer some correction. Now, in order to know what correction you're gonna offer, you gotta have like some rules. You understand? And every husband is different of his do's and don'ts inside of his own house. You know, some men are a little bit relaxed on certain rules, some aren't. I know some husbands don't mind their wives wearing leggings. Some be like, hey, this is an absolute no. Some husbands might say like, you know, she got a big old booty and she just can't hide it. She just can't hide it, but she can do a little something to try to cover it up. But some men are a little more relaxed with what they can and cannot wear. But every husband, based on his own household, being that strong man that you are, you would govern. You'll be like the husband. You would govern what the do's and don'ts. All right, keep going.
Start beginning verse 2.
Come.
While they behold your chast conversation coupled with fear.
So meaning like when it says coupled with fear, meaning like Not fear because it's something emotional, like, oh man, he's gonna hit me and beat me. It's more of like, let's say for example, I'm using compared to like a child. You told that child like, hey, you tell your son like, hey, when I get off of work, before I get home from work, you need to make sure the trash is taken out, that grass is cut, and you did your homework. Be home by 8:30. You know what I'm saying? You get home around 8:30. You come inside the house, you see the grass ain't cut and trash still in there. You look at your son. You look at him like, and what I tell you to do? Now, that look you give them puts the fear inside that child. You ain't hit that child, they just look at him like that certain amount of fear. So now they're gonna be like, okay, you know what? Let me take out the trash right now. And your pops, I apologize. It's dark outside, but I go ahead and start cutting the grass right now. Now you might say it's too dark, just wait till the morning, or you might implement some type of discipline. You might say, okay, you know what? Now you gotta cut the grass, but I want 100 push-ups right now. As a matter of fact, go do your sister's chores, go wash the dishes, or X, Y, Z. Now this can bring it up to a woman. You might tell your woman, hey, I don't want you hanging around this certain coworker because you know she gets a little bit too drunk and she gets a little bit too freaky. She be doing sodomite kind of things, and I don't want you around her. And she be disobedient, and she goes and hang with her, and now y'all get pulled up for a DUI. And your husband pull up, and she sees her husband, and she just put her head down. That's that fear because she knows, okay, I done something wrong. He's not hitting her, but she knows that the correction that she don't want to get. That's the fear that it's talking about when you offer that correction. All right, start over from verse 2.
Verse 2. While they behold your chast conversation coupled with fear.
And you're like, it's just whatever. It's what you're going to say to them. They're going to fear that. Like, dang, I done messed up. Like, brothers in the UPK, when they know they messed up, you might get a text like, hey, give me a call. Mm-hmm. That's that fear, like, oh, snap, man, what I done did. You know, oh, damn, I done messed up somewhere. Like, it's going to get a check-in, but you're going to get that fear with that conversation. Like, man, I done messed up bad. Like, man, he going to check me, man. God damn, like, what I done did this time. I mean, like, it's just correction. But it's that repercussion that you know they did something wrong. Like, people fear that checking. But sometimes check-ins don't feel good, but they are good because you did something wrong, but someone's making that correction to you. So that way you can stop those things that's wrong. Like, we got to check brothers. Now, you do got to be seasoned in how you check a brother. That's why I told you earlier, like, if a brother wants to knock your drink over in the club or whatever, and you bump out into you, like, don't go confront him in front of his friends. Like, pull their brother to the side, like, hey, homie, like, you bumped me kind of hard, you made me spill my drink, and the guy spilled all over my icy white forces. And if he might go buy you another drink or whatever. But it's all about how you check someone in the season you have to do it. But the point is, people are afraid to chastise another, and no one offers any correction. All right, so let's keep going.
Verse 3. Whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, of plaiting the hair, and of wearing gold, or of putting on apparel.
It's just talking about like how our women dress and how people dress. You know, plaiting. You know, we wear braids, not dreadlocks, but we wear braids, and it's just a part of our custom. Like, we wear gold, we wear jewelry. Our sisters still do it today. They got all these fancy type braids now, and they got all the big old gold accessories. So this is how we dress. So the first verse is talking about wives got to be subjective to their husbands. The second verse is talking about chastising with fear. Now we're talking about like how we dress in the apparel that we put on. Keep going.
Verse 4. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price.
It says, but let it not be hidden a man of heart. Like, don't hide in your mind like what you're going to do. It says, which is not corruptible. Like, you're gonna have to have like a pure heart. You're gonna have to like a strong mind. Okay, like that's what I said earlier. Like, what are the do's and the don'ts? When you have a do's and the don'ts, and they coincide with the Bible, you will please the Most High. Like, your mind is focused on serving the Most High, cultivating your marriage. Okay, here's the do's and the don'ts according to the Bible. This is how this household is going to flourish. This how his house is going to thrive. If you do that, you will please the Most High by being that husband to your wife, by being that husband to your children, being that father. But what can be a corruptible mind? I tell you what, when you got like a father who be's a father to his children, and that's all he does. And some of y'all be like, well, what's wrong with that? I'll tell you why. A man who's just a great father only to just his children, I couldn't be friends with. And I'll tell you why. Say there's a guy who has a job right Monday through Friday. He gets home every day around 5:15. And he goes there and he sees his kids, he loves on his kids with the deeds, of course. And he loves on his wife with the deeds, of course. And that's it. Monday through Friday. And every other weekend, they do some family gathering. Who knows, who cares? And that's all he does. But for other men who put in work, like, we gotta sacrifice some family time. I gotta sacrifice spending time with children. I gotta sacrifice spending time with my wife, or wives, rather. I gotta sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, those good times and these every other weekend kind of things. Why? Because this was necessary to build this nation up. You know, some men are great fathers, but they're terrible men to the rest of people. Like, if you only care about your family, like us in UPK, we sacrifice our own family time to make sure you can have your family time. We sacrifice us being with our wives to make sure that other people like us who used to be in the world can learn this truth. We are not selfish. You brought up earlier that misconception is one of the main reasons people break up. I told you, one is the lack of work. Next, or coincide with that, is selfishness. And when you're selfish, that ruins all relationships, whether it's a man and a woman that's having a marriage, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a co-workership, whatever you want to call that. Being selfish ruins every type of relationship there is, because you only care about yourself and not about others. Us in UPK, we give up a lot to do the Lord's work and for the sake of our people. So a lot of us love to be in the house with our wives. A lot of us love to not be outside blazing or being with our kids or want to be intimate with our wives any day of the week. Meaning, like, sometimes you gotta wait till like the next moon. You might be unclean. You might not be able to do like something like the Lord's work. But men who have a corruptible mind, like they only set forth just themselves, you know, you can't do nothing with a brother who's a great father but a terrible man to his people, because he only cares about himself. So we got to understand that if you really want to be a great man, you cannot be selfish. You cannot only care about yourself, because we are in last, and we got to wake our people up. If we all care about our families and only our families, we would never even heard of the truth. Somebody had to sacrifice. And that's what you see today, like men of the UPK, these men and women that's being inside the school, they made sacrifices. So that way we continue to do like this work with the Lord, and to show our people that we can do this work, and you too can learn. He has an ear, let him hear. All right, keep going.
Verse 5. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
Yeah, right there, it's reiterated that they got to be subjected. It's not by accident. The first verse said, be subjected to your own husbands. A few verses now, it reiterated. This is something that our sisters struggle with today, being subjected to like their husbands. They do not want to listen. They want to think that they can do everything by themselves. In actuality, I can't think of something a woman can do by herself outside of giving birth.
Sure.
I mean, what else you gonna say? What you gonna say? What? Braiding hair? Okay, fine. Okay, whatever. Cool. What you got?
So a lot of kids, the majority of sisters can't even do that. They have to be taught that now. They go to school for something that they should be already know how to do. Their asses know how to do it. Their sisters down the street know how to do it, but they're too busy being unsisterly to learn how to do it from that sister.
So right, yeah. So, that's right to another point I brought out earlier, and we brought up about women being selfish. Like if a brother had on like a nice hat or some nice gear on, little brother be like, hey bro, that's some dope gear you got on. Where'd you get it? He like, man, I got it from this little store down the street, a little blue store down the street. Go ahead, go copy. My sister got on a fly dress. She will not tell you where she got it from, cause she don't want nobody else to go out and buy it. That's just how selfish. Like I said, selfishness, being selfish ruins every relationship, no matter what kind it is. It ruins all relationships. So we got to stop being so selfish. We got to stop. We cannot be inconsiderate. We got to stop being selfish. But right there, it's talking about women got to be subjective. Like, if you don't submit, like, you will not have a healthy marriage. So one, if you want a marriage to thrive, if you want it to like survive, you have to have a wife that's going to submit. Period. If she won't submit, your marriage will not survive. It will not thrive. Without submission, it's just going to go by the wayside, and you'll end up getting divorced a couple years later, if it lasts that long. Sometimes it'll last a couple years because paperwork. You know, if you get Esau's marriage license, it costs to separate. You got to pay some money, and then once you pay that money, you got to pay that person too, depending on how much money was made between the two of y'all. And, you know, they got to decide, okay, if y'all bought a house together, who gets the house, who got to buy somebody out the house, who gets custody of the kids, and how many rights they get over those kids. Like, getting a divorce inside of Esau's kingdom is all business. It's nothing about the love. All right, so let's reread that verse.
Verse 5. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands. Verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Meaning, like, okay, Sarah obeyed Abraham. So we've been saying be subjective, and I keep saying you got to obey. That word right there, women struggle with it. They think like, I don't want to be obey. I don't got to be obedient. It ain't nothing but no word is in. Obedience is nothing but a word that means to do as told. Following instructions. Listen to your husband. If your husband asks you to do something, you do it. If he tells you to do something, you do it. Women today are caught up on words, when a lot of words mean the same thing. Like if you used to say to a woman, like, we want to train you how I want you to treat me. You can't train me. I ain't no dog. I ain't this, I ain't that. All right, fine. I'm going to teach you what I want you to do. But if you look at the definition for train, it means what? To teach. Women are caught up on words because they feel that certain words are demeaning or they are embarrassing. Why? I do not know. When all these words have synonyms for the same definition. Obedient, obey. Women are caught up on that. I don't want to obey. Now you can't rule over me. Well, who's in charge? You in charge. It's you the man. All right, I'm reigning over you. Like you're underneath the house of the rock. You're like, these are rules that we're all going to follow inside this household. But society has taught our women to have trigger words that they choose not to adhere to. Like, it's not by accident that it's telling women to be subjected to their husbands. It's telling women that you need to obey your husband. Because in today's time, women do not want to listen. They do not want to be reigned over. They don't want to submit. They don't want to be told what to do. They only care about themselves. All right, reread that verse.
Verse 5. Verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
She called him what?
Lord.
Oh, Lord. And she did what till she what?
Obeyed Abraham.
She didn't listen.
Obeyed Abraham.
She listened just sometimes.
Obeyed Abraham.
I don't like that word. It don't sound right. She what?
Obeyed Abraham.
Good night. She obeyed that man and called him her what?
Lord.
Good night. Ain't that something? UPK, we say that word in Hebrew. Khan out of one khan. Teach a woman that. Train her to say khan out of one khan or la out of one. That's yes, sir, or no, sir. That's what Lord means in today's language compared to a word like sir or sire, something like that. All right, keep going.
Whose daughters ye are as long as ye do well, and are not afraid with any amazement. Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
Meaning, like when you dwell according to knowledge, you got to dwell not with emotions. You got to dwell with them by what they do and what they understand. Like you cannot be emotional. Like when you got a woman and she's throwing a temper tantrum and she's fussy, you can be there fussing with her. If you got a woman and she's out in public and she's throwing stuff around and she's fussing, and you're gonna go, okay, what can I say to get her to calm down to ensure that she don't embarrass herself more? Now you're gonna have to dwell with her according to where she's at in knowledge speaking, like not by what she's doing. Okay, she understands this. Okay, what can I say? What can I do? Reread that part over.
Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
You got to know exactly what you're dealing with. That's why in UPK, it's wise. If you try to get a rib inside the school, it'll take a year to get them. You know, you got to spend so much time courting and getting to know and so forth and so on. It's wise to know who your woman is. That means like know how to deal with them. Okay, here are her traumas. Here are her demons. This is what works with her. This is what I can say to get her to, in a sense, calm down or help her regain self-control. I tend to not say the word calm down. Working with mental patients, we tell somebody to calm down, and then they don't feel like they're outside of being unruly. Like tell somebody to calm down makes them act out of control. Like, hey man, calm down. I am calm. You know what I'm saying? It makes them get riled. It makes them turn up. So I learned to say, hey brother, let me help you regain self-control. What you mean self-control? Like, hey, you said this. I want you to be in control of everything. So right now, I'm cool. I want you to be cool. I ain't cool. You are cool. You're doing a good job right now. Like, y'all want to reassure and offer like that confidence and help them rebuild themselves up. So when you're dealing with a sister according to knowledge, you're going to have to know what's her trigger words. What words can I say to her that can help her understand that way? I can get her back in this car. I can talk to her. I can check her in a manner that she can still receive it. I might not be harsh this time. I might have to tone it back some. So you got to dwell with your spouse according with you got to dwell with them according with knowledge. But you cannot be emotional. That is the main thing. Don't be emotional. Don't be like, hey bitch, I said you gotta do this and blah 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 blah. Next thing you know, y'all gonna be like Blueface and Chris out in public. Oh, you know what that is? You know what it is? Oh yeah, so you gonna be like them in public. Like now, he ain't dwelling with her according to knowledge. He's just dwelling with her, just being emotional. Like he don't know how to pull his sister to the side. Okay, look, this is what you gotta do. If you can't get your act right, you will not be seen with me in public. I mean, like you're gonna have to learn how to punish your wife. Now, when I say that, I don't mean physically, but it can be physically, meaning like you can take something away physically, if you get what I'm going. Yeah. Like, you know, you get no vitamin D for 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks. That's you getting up for 2 weeks. Whatever your rules might be. You know, it might be a month, it might be a couple of days. The point is, you're gonna once you learn your wife, you know how you can deal with it. You know, okay, this is the do's, this is the don'ts, this is how I'm going to react to her, this is what I'm going to say to her. All right, start the verse one more time.
Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
So it means like giving honor. So a lot of times, now this I want to bring out one more time. When I bring it one more time, I want to actually get the definition. Because we tend to know what words mean, but tend to forget how they operate. The definition for the word honor is high respect, great esteem. When we, like I said earlier, that when a brother first meet that chick, he talk to her, he's giving her honor by like saying how she's good and respectable, and then tell her this and tell her that. You get to cooking and it stops. He stopped giving her honor. He stopped putting in that work. Scripture just says you got to dwell with her according to knowledge, like what you say to her and how you want to treat her. Then you got to give her honor. Like give her respect. You know what I'm saying? If she's con out on one con and then she's doing what you tell her to do, give her respect because she's going to need it. Because women naturally craves that type of attention. Every woman said they might not have Facebook, but they crave the attention from their other ones. So Give your woman that respect, especially if she earned that respect. Do not be afraid. Like, you know what, baby, you did a good job, and I just want to tell you that I really appreciate you. And as a matter of fact, I will tell you I got something for you, but I already got it. Here's a nice gift, or just show your appreciation. Like, give honor when it's due. And if let's say she did nothing wrong, but she did nothing good, it was just like a cool week. Still give her that honor. You know what? I ain't hear no lip from you today. Don't tell her that part, but like, you know what? I ain't get no back talk today. We had a cool little week, but I ain't get no back talk. She ain't make me mad or nothing. And I just want to tell you that I love you, and you doing. I want to tell you I really appreciate you. And man, this week, like we had like a cool little week, but whatever you're doing, man, keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? I know we've been busy at the slave, but like, keep doing what you're doing. Like, we gotta stop being afraid of giving women like honor when it's due, or we gotta put in program our mind and say, you know what, this is my job. Like these things that it says to do to a wife, like look at it like this. This is your job now. This ain't about, oh, I love you. Because men don't really care for the word love. We want to get inside their bedroom. Women be all emotional like that. Men just want inside their bedroom. Men only want 3 things from a woman. Do everybody know it? Go ahead.
Obedience, silence, and box.
Yeah, I take obedience. Yeah, I take obedience. I was gonna say to be quiet, but yeah. I was gonna say comfort actually. Not you said silence. I was gonna say comfort.
Comfort.
Yeah, but yeah, I take obedience. Yeah, so pretty much those 3. I was gonna switch. I was gonna because telling her to be quiet can fall under obedience. Or if you want her to be quiet, she had to obey. Yeah, but I was gonna say box, comfort, and for her to shut the F up sometimes. Those are the 3 things. And now, depending on the brother, it would determine how much he might want from it. You know, some brothers want a lot of box. Some brothers don't want that much. Some people want the woman to do no talking. Some don't mind some talking. Some brothers want a lot of comfort. Some brothers might not need it. You know, some brothers be relying upon women. They might have to stay with them. Some brothers want, hey, just buy me this PlayStation 5 and not play the video game. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the brother will determine how much of the 3 he might desire from that woman. But those are the top 3 things. You ask a woman what she wants, it's a long laundry list. It's a whole book. So that just shows the difference between the 2 of us. But you have to understand, like, loving this woman is like a job now. You're going to have to do all these, you're going to have to be a husband. If she say you are her husband, you are now the definition of the root word from husbandry. You're going to have to care and to cultivate. You have to check the temperature. Okay, it's too hot for this. It's too cold for that. Okay, too much water, not enough water. Oh, snap, I got to put some things around to keep the bugs away. You're going to have to really be a husband to this woman. You're going to have to take care. You're going to have to manage. This is now your job now. Like, even for some men who don't feel like having been intimate, all right? You just say what they used to feel like, but it's been 2 weeks for her and she's been craving. Suck it up, do your job. Man, as soon as she get one, I'm acting like I got mine too. I'm going to sleep right with her. Bam. Okay, so whatever. You know, some brothers do it. I've done it a couple times, so I ain't feel like one. Whatever. But my point is, being with a woman, you have to put in work. You have to be a husband. You have to manage that. And work is like your job now. You might not even feel like saying the words, I love you. Or you might not feel like saying certain words. But the scripture says, when she's honorable, give her honor. That's your job now. That's why in the UPK, we're saying that, like, and what the Bible's telling you, that if you take on a woman, it's a huge responsibility. If you're not ready, then don't take on. Like, if you're not ready to be with her and stay with her and guide her and put hedges around to actually, like how a farmer gardens to his garden, if you're not ready to do all that kind of work, then don't take yourself on a woman. Because women need to be guided. Women need to be led and reigned over. That's just how they were built, and that's just what we need today, because there are no more strong men today, except for in the UPK under Commander Yohana. He's raising up lions. He's teaching men who are men by age, but not men by actions. You understand? So, like, he's raising up men, okay, like, what you was taught was wrong. This is what you got to do to be a man. It takes a man to make a boy a man, and that's what we teach here in the school of UPK, and what the Bible teaches. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
So when it says like a weaker vessel, meaning like weaker vessel doesn't mean that like she's useless. It just means that she's not as strong. Like you're gonna have to, if you understand that she's the weaker vessel, that means she's gonna need a little more help. Like we are put inside of a position to give more help. We're put inside of a position, okay, this is how we're going to manage this household. It's not a fault against women. It's just saying that she's just a weaker vessel. She's just a little bit or a lot of bit more emotional. You know, so you're gonna have to be like that solid object. You know, you're gonna have to be like that object she holds. So let's say if you're standing up, right? If somebody was to push you from behind, what would you do?
Lean forward.
You lean forward. What would your arms do?
Go out to try to stop you from falling.
Go out to try to stop you from falling. So you're gonna go out and get pushed from behind. Your arms gonna fly out, and you're gonna try to stop yourself from falling, but you're gonna eventually brace for impact.
Yeah.
That's what the weaker vessel is. She's gonna be the one who get pushed from behind, and she's trying to brace from impact. And you have to be that solid object that she falls to catch her every time. Okay, like you got pushed from behind. This how you stop yourself being pushed. This what you got to do. You listen to that old hating ass broad at the co-worker. Next time, don't even say nothing to her. You know what I'm saying? They piss you off at the slavery. Just do your slavery and do your slavery. Just come on. Like you're gonna have to be the one that talks to your woman to show her the do's and don'ts, because she is the weaker vessel. Like she's gonna be the one that has something to say. Like us at the job, we're like, man, slavery don't piss me off. That's about it. Women, they got, man, she did this. They came in at this time. They said this. They said that. They blah 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 blah. We're two totally different people. But since she is the weaker one, you have to show her that you are the strong one, because you are built for it. She's going to confide in you and tell you all her little problems. You got to be the one to offer those solutions. Yeah. So that hating this bar said, what now? Okay, this is what you do. Say this, say that. And as a matter of fact, unfriend her on Facebook. Make your page private. Don't say nothing else to her. As a matter of fact, go to HR next time she says this. You know, so next time get a witness or something. So you got to be the one to show her how to move around, not just at work, but amongst like her sisters, amongst like her friends, amongst with her family. You are the one that she submits to 100%. So anytime she gets pushed, she's gonna brace for impact. And you have to be like her solid object. You got to be the one that has everything together. You got all the answers. Because if you don't have all the answers, she's gonna find somebody else who do got the answers. And if you can fix her problems, you're trying to tell her she's gonna find another husband. Now the scriptures don't teach that, but in today's society, they teach a woman that leave him and find something better. You got to be the one that has all the answers to your woman. All right. Reread 7 from the middle.
Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Verse 8. Finally, be ye all of one mind.
Meaning, like, y'all gonna have to be on the same accord. Like, okay, under the house, I'll call y'all or Bill or the Rocket. This is how we're gonna move forward. Ain't no pork coming in this house. Ain't no weed coming in this house. You got that thieving ass uncle. You got that crackhead mama. They can't come inside. They can come to the porch. As a matter of fact, the crackhead can't come over in the house. But that thieving uncle, what do you like to steal? You like to steal money or you like to steal TV? Like, here are the do's and don'ts. We're gonna be in one mind, one accord. We all gonna think the same. We all gonna move the same. And if anybody deviate, it will be some chastising. It will be some correction. And don't worry, there's gonna be some correction with a little bit of fear, but we're gonna move forward and keep going. All right, keep going.
Verse 8. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one for another. Love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous.
So that's telling you, like, you gotta love your brother, you gotta love your sister, and you got to be courteous. We lack compassion. Our women lack submission and they lack obedience. But it's telling our husband, okay, you got somebody, deal with them according to knowledge. So these are, in these first 8 verses, these are the necessary tools that you need in order how your marriage can survive. And it's almost now. I'm gonna try to read these articles real quick. As a matter of fact, Troop, I might see you. You say you like the phone?
No, I ain't got the phone.
All right, no sweat. Yeah, guys, just grab this phone from me. Let's see. Okay. Start read this. Then start scrolling down some.
It's an article from divorce.com. It said the United States has the 6th highest average divorce rate in the world, with 40 to 50% of married couples filing for a divorce.
Man, that right there, you see like these newlywed couples, and some, like I said earlier, like some men get married because like their woman gave them an ultimatum. They said, if you don't put a ring on it, I'm leaving. Him, in fear of losing his woman, he'll go buy an engagement ring and he'll propose to her. But he says right there, 40 to 50% of these marriages fail. They fail because of what? They did not have the substance of this Bible. They did not have the substance of what First Peter said in the book of First Peter. It's like, this is what you got to do to make your marriage thrive. You got to chastise. You got to be comfort. You got to submit to your husband. You got to be obedient. You got to be courteous. You got to be on one accord. They're not on one accord. If she gave him an ultimatum and he didn't want to do it, that's not being on one accord. You understand? So, also, you look at marriages today, they stopped putting in the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got the cookie and that was it. Oh, I ain't gotta do nothing else now. Or they get together, they get married, and they realize that, man, she's really, here's another thing about being with people, and this can go on both ways. They dress clean in person, but they are really junky inside the house. Like, she'll even make up the bed. Like, she get out the bed, it be all over the place. She get up and go to work, but left drawers on the floor, and you come home after work, the bed's still not made up, and she might jump back in the bed and go to sleep and then start all over again. Like, some people living with them, some people are really filthy, but you didn't know that starting off. So a lot of issues come from people not knowing how people live. But if you want to make a marriage thrive, that's why I said it's always best to wait. It's best to court them. But whatever issue you got, like I said, everyone has like their own share of bull jive, right? You just gotta hope that your good outweighs that bull jive, or people are willing to put up with you. All right, keep going.
The United States Census Bureau report suggests that marriage and divorce rates dropped from 2009 to 2019. Usually, second or third marriages in the United States have a higher divorce rate. 60% of second marriages and about 73% of third marriages end in divorce.
So therefore, if you tried the first time, that's 40 to 50%, and that didn't work out, and you had, well, I chose wrong this time. Usually, I gotta find another article. I think it's like one I read is like almost 90% of people who file for divorce are typically women. They always file for divorce. Usually, okay, I didn't get it right the first time. That's what I said earlier. Women are terrible when it comes to picking men. I mean, men make horrible decisions too because we like whores, generally speaking, but women are terrible when it comes to choosing a husband. So, it didn't work the first time, so what's they gonna do? Find somebody else? Oh, I'm gonna get it right this time. They might even go outside their race. And that fails. It just shows you that in today's society, since the strong man has been out, marriages have not been thriving because nobody teaches women what they have to do in order to make their marriage survive. And the men. Nobody offers chastising. Nobody offers work. People have like a false pretense about what they expect out of their marriage. But nobody puts in the work. Nobody does these 8 verses inside of 1 Peter. All right, keep going. Is him on that?
Couples going through their first divorces are around the age of 30. Married couples between the ages of 20 to 25 are 60% likely to get a divorce.
Good night. Early young people, 20 to 25. Young 60, that's more than half. That's 60. 60% of failed marriage, if you're in your early 20s, you get divorced. Yeah, so I say you know, fishing for that hot little piece of tail, and now you know, you like, dang, this broad is junky. Or she might say he's lazy. Or they don't, you might find out that he only take 2 baths a week, and you're like, man, she been giving him sloppy typing for a while now. He only took 2 baths a whole week. Whatever the case may be, you find out exactly how filthy people can be. But she might not like it, or he decided he want to give himself another woman, and she found that he was cheating, so she filed for divorce. Or next thing you know, that he decided he want to come home tonight, and he didn't tell her, and she was like, "Well, where you been at?" And she want to file for divorce. But the point is that, especially young people, they're not adults; they still learning life, have not been taught what it means to be in a marriage. A woman says she want a husband. I guarantee if you do a survey, like your own personal survey, conduct yourself like interviews of people, or just ask general questions like, you know what does the word husband mean to you? You ask some sister that, she'll be like, well, it means that he got a wife, and he gonna be a provider, and he gonna do X, Y, and Z, but it will not give you like the actual definition for husband. Like they will not tell you that it's a root word that comes from husbandry, and it means to be like a farmer. They will not tell you none of that. They're gonna mention all these pretty words. He's loyal, he takes care of the family, pays the bills, all this other hogwash stuff. The reason why women fail today about picking a husband, because they don't know what a husband's supposed to be. And us as men, we gotta start teaching men how to be a husband. You gotta teach women, okay, one, you can't choose. Like someone might look up and find himself a man. When I say, let me say, I don't like to use the word luck. Some might be fortunate to find themselves a good man, but majority are not fortunate because they tend to choose the wrong type of men. They tend to choose like the outside flashiness of things. No one tends to know, okay, like your husband's gonna look like this brother who got like oil stains on his hands. I'm not saying the mechanics or somebody get a good man, but my point is that he works hard. He might be at work a little bit too much, but you find out that he's working towards a goal, or he's working to take care of his family, and he ain't got that much time, but he make time for you. So inside of his business schedule, he make times for you, and he tells you he loves you. He give you your due honor, but you call up on an image. You call up on jewelry. You call up on the flashy car, but not the work that the man might put in towards you. So the point is that we have not been taught what a husband is, have not been taught the work that you got to put in to make that marriage thrive. All right, keep going. In the article.
Black women.
Is on there? Yeah, come on.
Say black women divorce at a higher rate, 38.9% than any other race.
Oh, good night. This sister get this back. Oh, 40% sisters say, I don't want this Negro no more. They are asking for divorce. Meaning, like, they get this man who they chose, I might add, because normally the man asks the woman to marry them. He ain't marrying the woman, she's marrying him. So she chose him and said yes, and then she chose to leave him. So she said yes, she's gonna stay with him, and then she's gonna say yes, she's gonna leave him. Look at the power that women got under this empire. Well, it's not supposed to be like that. That power belongs to that man, to that husband who she's supposed to submit to. Women are asking to be married, or they giving ultimatums to be married, and then they be one of the first ones who will run to divorce court. Then take all or half your earnings and income. So women right there, that's why I said, like, the scripture's talking about like binding up their strong man. You get rid of that strong man, this is what you got today. Women asking for divorces, are children of sodomites or dope fiends. Any more on that?
Love.
All right, cool. So, man, if y'all didn't understand nothing or learn nothing, remember this. Being with a woman is a full-time job. You might not like it. You might have to write some stuff down. You might have to even set reminders. Like, just know that you need to do this in order to make your marriage thrive. I might have said this before you came in, that minus the young people, that said 60% of divorces within the first 5 years, you don't survive like your first couple of arguments, a couple of door slams, nothing major. First 10 years, you don't survived, you know what I'm saying? So, your parents going through menopause, or You might survive a death or two. You know, one of the grandparents died. First 20 years, you don't survive, you know what I'm saying, door slammers, you don't survive, grandparents dying. Now you got kids acting out of control. 30 years, you don't survive, kids acting out of control, grandparents died, male parents starting to die, kids moving out. Next thing you know, 50 years, you survive storms, you survive wars, you survive death of her parents, the death of your parents, you survive your kids, and now you got to survive the grandkids. The point is, everything that happens has to be work. And that should be the mentality of every marriage. You got to put in that work if you want to make this thing thrive. Because you yourself as an individual, you are not pleasant to be around. The moment you understand that, it'll be the easiest way for you to put in the work to make yourself thrive a little bit better. There are a few books you can read. The one's called Cognitive Therapy. You get it off Amazon. And these are just like done by sociology doctors. And just talking about how the human brain operates. How people make certain decisions and how you can put yourself in a position to make better decisions. When the scripture brought up earlier about dwell with them according to knowledge, sometimes it's okay if you say, you know what, I don't even know what to say right now. Maybe there's an answer inside of a book. Then you can read some books, you can read some different stories of like, okay, you know what, let me try this with this sister. Like last time I yelled, but when I yelled, it traumatized her from like, I don't know, some bully or something, and she shut down for like a week. So maybe I can't yell too loud. Let me try this approach. Or, you know, last time I said she's acting like a bitch, and next thing you know, she almost ran us off the road. So next time I said, maybe she should be in the room and not around the kitchen and knives. So like whatever it is, you have to learn your woman, and you have to know, okay, this is what works, this is what doesn't work. But importantly, you gotta understand this. Being a husband to a woman is a full-time job. If you're not willing to put in that work, then don't become a husband to a woman. All right? With that, I'm going to do these security announcements. Alrighty. You don't do security announcements?
I don't have them, but I can't do them.
All right, so I'll go ahead and read it real quick. All right. All right, this is the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And we've been established teachers since 1969. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to that brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After 6 months period is over, they will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'ashra, which means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny or increase the Lord gives you. You can give this to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, which is a free will offering for priests. This is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. The upcoming Holy Convocation will be the Lord's 52nd annual Passover. This will be in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. I will play a brief commercial once I end the class. All right, if a brother wants to be a part of the school, he should start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, I say a module, which means things in the Hebrew. All right, men of Israel will get one curse salute. We'll say module Shabbat. We will stand our feet shoulder width apart, hands behind the back. And when I say a module again, we stand at attention. When I say Barak, hand above the shoulder, we'll give the Lord a greeting. Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Barakatah. Yadamatar, his hands down. All right, this class dismissed. Hey, play that commercial.
Just press the end.
No, scroll it up down. You should see it, one of the last ones.
Shalom. It's that time again, Israel. It's the Lord's 54th annual Passover in North Carolina. what we do. Y'all know what we came to do. Huh?
The ISUPK, under Commander General Yohana, will be hosting the Lord's 54th annual Passover in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Convention Center. This is something that you do not want to miss. Make sure that y'all bring the entire family.
Wait till I get with ya. If I gotta go to ground, I'ma shut the town down. I ain't about to stop until I hear stand down. All you gonna see is a lot of man down.
The Downtown Raleigh Convention Center. For blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Go to ISUPK.com to purchase your tickets today. $200 per every adult over the age of 17 years old.
We are not the same. No, we not related. I'm not stuck on living. Death is a vacation. My camp undefeated. You cannot debate it. You just want the clout.
The Lord's 54th annual Passover, April the 1st, is coming down to Raleigh, North Carolina. That's right. Commander General Yohana has done it again. You don't want to miss this. Pull yourself.